powers vested in me, I hereby constitute this graduation ceremony of the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. You may be seated.
Molweni, goeiemorgen. Good morning, everyone. Before we begin the ceremony, can we join together in a moment's silence for private prayer and meditation? Thank you. Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Nebatalu, members of Council, distinguished guests, our guest speaker, Prof. L.T. Links, members of staff, parents, friends, and most important of all, our graduates. Good morning and welcome on this joyous occasion when we celebrate the achievement of all those who will be graduating today. This is a very special occasion for all of you, representing the culmination of years of study, hard work, and sacrifice. And sacrifices not only on the part of you, the graduates, but of parents, partners, and family members who provided financial and moral support throughout your period of study. So this ceremony represents a celebration of a collective effort of all who contributed to your achievements. This year we will be awarding 6,819 diplomas and degrees in 12 graduation ceremonies, which are taking place on both our Cape Town and Bellville campuses. At these ceremonies, we will be awarding 73 master's degrees and 16 doctoral degrees. Today we will be conferring qualifications on candidates in the Faculty of Business, by far the largest faculty at the institution. 4 of the 12 graduation ceremonies are devoted entirely to this faculty. This faculty has established strong partnerships both locally with provincial government and SETAs and internationally with a number of universities abroad. It currently runs a vibrant student-staff exchange program with these universities, as well as a dual master's degree. The faculty has made significant progress in promoting its research agenda over the past few years and has recently been awarded a research chair funded by the wholesale and retail SETA. The faculty has furthermore established a center of tourism research in Africa and is developing further research niche areas in sports management and public management. The Cape Peninsula University of Technology is currently the largest university in the Western Cape, with over 33,000 students, including a strong contingent of international students representing more than 70 countries across the globe. We are regarded as a leading university of technology, having increased our research outputs to a point where it exceeds that of a number of traditional universities. We have received funding from the Department of Higher Education and Training for further growth, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels, particularly in areas where there's a critical skill shortage. To enable this expansion, we've completed 5 major building projects: mechanical engineering, food technology, administration building, new residences, as well as expansions to the education building in Mowbray. And we are currently completing extensions to our electrical engineering building on our Bellville campus. We are using these funds to consolidate our academic departments, which are currently dispersed across a number of campuses of CPUT. Eventually, we hope to move our science, engineering, and technology programs to the Bellville campus, and our business, ICT, and design programs to the Cape Town campus. Our vision is to be at the heart of technology education and innovation in Africa. And we believe that through technology and innovation, we will be able to address critical issues relating to economic and social development, both in this region and nationally. As alumni of this institution, we hope that you will commit to this vision. Many of you will go on to occupy influential positions in commerce, in industry, and in the public sector. But we sincerely hope that you will not forget the communities from which you come. We hope that you will use your special skills and your influence to put something back into those communities and to help contribute to their development. Together we hope that you will help us realize our goal of creating futures, not only for our students, but for the broader society as well. We hope that you will continue to support this institution and that your future professional development will take place here. With the rapid pace of change and the globalization of knowledge, it will become imperative that you continue to upgrade your knowledge and skills on a regular basis. And we hope that we, at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, will have a role to play in your lifelong learning. We know that our alumni are our greatest ambassadors, and that is why your success is so important to us. We are proud of what you have achieved thus far, and we sincerely hope that we have helped to place you on a trajectory that will lead you to even greater successes in the future. Congratulations once again on your fine achievements. We salute you as graduates of the Cape Peninsula University of Technology and wish you continued success and everything of the best for the future. Thank you. It is now a great pleasure for me to introduce our guest speaker this morning, Professor L.T. Links. Prof. Links is a graduate of UWC, Stellenbosch University, and the State University of New York. He has a BCom and MCom degree, and he completed both the MA and PhD degree at the State University of New York. In his long career, he has basically followed three career paths. Firstly, as an academic, he lectured economics at the University of Western Cape. And then secondly, as a diplomat, we served as the South African representative at the IMF, that's the International Monetary Fund, and at the World Bank in Washington, D.C., and in Switzerland. And then as an ambassador, the South African ambassador to the European Union in Belgium and in Luxembourg. And then thirdly, he followed a career as a businessman and has served as a director on the board of 8 companies, including Jutta, where he was the chairman for many years, Plascon, and Business Partners. I'd also like to thank Prof. Links for responding to the request to be the guest speaker this morning on very short notice. And as a consequence, he's got another commitment this morning, so he will have to leave shortly after his address. But it now gives me great pleasure to call on Prof. Links to deliver his address.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to acknowledge the very distinguished faculty on the rostrum here. We have the Vice Chancellor, Nebatalu, Professor. I would like to, from my side, just welcome you to Cape Town. Cape Town is not a Slopstad. It is a very active part of the country. I would like to wish you everything of the best for the very important but very interesting task that you've taken on. This university, and as I look across here, I am flabbergasted. I am impressed, to say the least. I come from a university of the Western Cape, and I remember there was a time that there was big debate about whether there should be a merger of Western Cape and the then Pentec. And there was big fight with the then minister to to keep these two separate. I would like to congratulate those who fought for the separate identities of these institutions, for the simple reason that you are ample proof of the success of the then Pentec and now the CPUT as an independent school of learning, and your direction, your emphasis of study is so important for this country. You know, I serve also on the President's BBEE Council, the Broad-Based Black Economic Council. And in that, he has challenged us to develop industrialists. Yes, small business is important. We all acknowledge that. But he has challenged us to develop industrialists from our communities. It's a big challenge. Defining an industrialist. And then where do you get to the point where you can call yourself an industrialist? And Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I'd like to challenge this institution to be part of that process in developing that which we all see as important for the future of this country. We've just heard over the weekend that Nigeria has overtaken us as the largest economy on the continent of Africa. We've been there all along. We took it for granted. I want to challenge the faculty sitting here that teach business and innovation and technology to make it a point of achieving that status back. I want to also just congratulate the students before I say a few words to them. This is surely a moment that I remember as my greatest moment in the academia. In fact, it was the greatest moment of all my achievements, my first degree. I felt like a king. I want you to feel like kings and queens today. And then I would like to also thank and congratulate those parents who are sitting here. They might not be parents, they might even be brothers and sisters who supported you. Whoever is here in support of one or two of these graduates, you need a special hand. And I'm going to ask the whole congregation to give you a wonderful hand. Thank you very much. You know, life is a journey. Life is a journey, and you know, in journeys we get a lot of stops and starts, exits and entrances. Where there's an exit, there's always an entrance. The door opens, or there is a door that needs to be opened. And some of these exits and some of these entrances are more important than others. You've just exited a life without you even knowing it as a student of that specific degree that you studied for. But you're entering into a new phase. And that for me is important. And you might say, was I lucky? Was I fortunate? You know, or am I deserving this? Success is always something that is defined for the individual. But let me start at the beginning. A highlight for you today, no doubt. And there is nothing like achieving a goal you set out to achieve 3, 4, 5 years ago, and finally got to the end of that race. You are flying your own flag today. I want you to raise that flag when you're alone, even in your bedroom. Raise it and give yourself a hug, because you've really achieved. But you see, the flag is also being flown by your family, by your mom, by your dad, by your siblings. because this achievement owes a lot to them as well. They are part of your success. No person in his or her right mind will ever think they achieved without the support of the parents and the family. But as has been said by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, this is also flying the flag of the community. The community has had a role in whatever you achieved. And as I look across here, I see many of you coming here from the Cape, right? Die Kaapse mense. En die Kaapse mense het 'n wonderlike manier om mekaar te ondersteun. Ek sal nooit vergeet, toe ek die eerste keer oor see gaan, my first trip overseas was nogal 'n serious trip. I went to New York to study, but that was my first plane trip. And when I got to the then DF Milan airport, you remember? It was a small little airport. And this airport had one departure lounge that was about the quarter of the size of this hall. But my whole community, the whole Belleville South, and the church came to say goodbye. That was in 1980. And it was an achievement to say, not to fly only, to say goodbye to someone at the airport. Was that a big occasion? I remember the church choir came to sing. I was so embarrassed, but you know. And what was more embarrassing, you know, the Muslim community of Cape Town also goes to Mecca at a certain time. And here was all these people also there in their garb saying goodbye. There was no place for anybody else. But that's our community. And that is the part that you must never forget. The part that the community played in your success. And as I recall my studies in the US, there was one lady at the church who turned 95 recently. And that was in 1980, so she was a little younger. But she continually, whenever I was despondent in the loneliness of the room that I studied in at the hostel, I would get a letter. Broken Afrikaans and English, she didn't have much education. Writing to me and encouraging me to continue my studies. You see, what the community does is it makes us fly. It's the wind under our wings. In the sense that you cannot afford to disappoint the community. You can disappoint yourself. But whenever I wanted to just throw in the towel, I would think of this lady. I would think of my mom. I would think of my dad. And all of the Imagine you come home without that degree. You would not be able to face them. So community celebrates with you. Beautiful support from the community. So you are a product of the community, and they implore you to do your best as well. And this is where I would like to have you listen to what the Deputy Vice Chancellor said. When you go out here, your responsibility, yes, is to yourself and to your family, but never forget the community. When I finished defending my dissertation in New York, my supervisor and chair of my committee was Professor Chaim Ofek. He was an Israeli. He invited me to his office. You know, that time that you feel you are a king, you number one. he congratulated me, and then he said to me, Elias, which is actually my real name. This LT is not my real name. But you know how we grow up with nicknames and they stick. They stick like crazy. My wife still calls me Elias. And you know why she calls me Elias? Because it's a nice name. When she wants to get at me, Elias! Elias! It's much better than LT, you know. So she calls me Elias. And this professor said to me, Elias, you can be proud of your work. He then said something that stuck with me, which I want to leave with you today. He said, never let this qualification be an embarrassment to you. What did he mean by that? You know, when you have a qualification, people have an expectation. And you must live up to the expectation that people put to that qualification. But more so, he said, this is even more important to me. Let it never be an embarrassment to this institution, the State University of New York. This is why my pledge to myself and to the university was so important. You see, whenever you are required to perform some function, people must never doubt that you are qualified. You are a proud graduate of CPUT. That is why whenever you write, and I will never forget the first degree, I wrote Elias Links, and I wrote BCom. And then in brackets, you would write UWC. Now you're going to write in brackets CPUT. And that gives it away. Where did this person get that qualification? And it is that which is so important, that CPUT must never be embarrassed. I have no doubt that you will raise that standard of CPUT. This is almost a sacred responsibility. Don't embarrass the institution. So what else can I leave with you today? I'm saying this is a start, an entrance of a long, long race. Qualifications, learning never stops. If you think this is the end of the road, you better get off the plane right now. It is part of your existence, your life, to continually improve. And in today's world, learning is lifelong. You cannot rest on your laurels. You know, when I started at UWC, you wouldn't believe it. We were 10 students enrolling for the BCom. In 3 years' time, there was one that finished. The others finished in time. Why do I say that? Your task is tougher than ours was. You have a competition out there second to none. There are so many out there. The unemployment rate of graduates, you have to find something that distinguishes you from the rest. And that is why stopping your learning would be a fatal mistake. I retired at the age of 60 and moved on to a next phase of my life where I had to adjust my life, and my skills had to be retuned to the challenges of the business world post the age of 60. Now that calls for something. I want you to think of yourself as, what is my next phase? And the environment changes. As you leave here, the environment out there has already changed from the one that you had when you started this degree. The road that I was used to was replaced by something totally different. You know, life has many roads, but the surfaces of these roads change. The vehicles on the road change. You think that your model, whoever you are, is still the in thing today. Tomorrow, there are new vehicles on the road. I remember in the 1960s, my first car was a Zephyr, a green Zephyr. And we would go to Namaqualand, where I come from, and we would drive that road. It was 500 Ks. We had stops about 5 along the road with this car. And I would never forget getting onto that road, seeing a car in the distance. We would smile and say, "There's a car coming." And as the car passed, we would lean out and wave, and he would wave almost to stop. If you see that Zephyr on the road today, you'd say, "Where does this thing come from?" The cars on the road, the vehicles have changed. It's not the little vehicles that we had or the big vehicles we had. But the roads have changed. You can't use that car on today's roads. The ICT of today, the technology of today, is a different road. You can't, without that, tackle the challenges of today. And I will not forget that our roads were straight, and for long kilometers, they just continued and continued. We had a road up to where I come from in Namaqualand. They called it die Knersvlakte. Now, those of us who understand Afrikaans will know this is a long road, a dry road, and a hot road. That has changed. Today's vehicles do this. They move inside out like you've never seen before. They overtake you on the left side, on the right side. You, as the vehicle, must be adaptable. The vehicle must be changed, the roads have changed, and for you to be adaptable in this new environment is very important. But I slowly, while working as an executive at Santam, started to enjoy my first love of teaching at the university business school. So when I left the diplomacy, went to Santam, and then I went back to teaching. How fortunate we are to share our knowledge, all of our knowledge that we've accumulated at the IMF, at the World Bank, at the European Union. All of this had to be shared with the younger generations. Even in your young life, take time out to share your knowledge at the community level. There is such a great need for this broader skills development, education in the broader sense. Take a class on a Saturday or in the evening where you've got a skill, even if it's the older folk that you want to teach a little bit of the computer, because they need to know these things. I've just come from a conference in Belgium where we discussed ICT in agriculture, how that the phone, the cell phone, and other technologies that we have leapfrogged Africa into the future. Very important. Take time out to teach those older folk. You would be rewarded more than anything else. Slowly I moved into another career of being a director of companies. This has become a passion and full-time work for the last 7 years. Did I plan my life that way? No. At a young age, you don't know what is waiting for you. But the lesson for me is to you, be open. Avail yourself of opportunities. And when the time comes right, it is important that you be qualified. This is the beauty of relying on others to help shape your dreams, which change continually as circumstances change. Very important. One has broad goals to start off, and then refine them as you hone in on your target. And as it becomes clearer, and as you gain more experience, you would find that achieving them would be much, much easier. This is exciting because you don't know the end game. I never knew what my end game was going to be like. And I'm sure many of the faculties and the parents who are here today started off point A but never ended in Z. They ended in M or X or Y. Different end game. And this is why it's important that you must be qualified at each of those stages to make use of the opportunities that arise along your path. There's nothing so disappointing than to find the ideal job and the position that you would like and that you would enjoy, that would make you happy, only to find out and realize that you miss out because you don't have the right qualification, which you could have had. You come just short. You see, success, in my definition, is a very simple thing. Success is when opportunity meets qualification. The opportunity is there, and I'm qualified, that's why I'm successful. The one without the other doesn't speak of success. You can be qualified, but there are no opportunities. You're not successful. There can be opportunities, but you're not qualified. It's not success. The two must meet, and your job is to be qualified. So be flexible in your dreams, and get your qualifications and experience lined up for more than one opportunity that might come your way. Perhaps you should prepare yourself for this and have a grip on the skills required outside of the narrow thing that you studied for, or the narrow job description that you have in front of you. By this I mean be a world citizen, a world traveler. Those life skills that we take for granted are sometimes more important in landing you the position than the formal qualification. What I speak about that is your whole demeanor. How do you conduct yourself? Very important. The HR people here on the faculty will tell you, you studied this. How you present yourself, you know. And this, I wish I could speak more on in my own life, and how big negotiations with the European Union came down to not the argument that you have in your mind, but in the way you put the argument. Very important. Be a desirable person. Be someone that is desired by your employees, your colleagues, by your employer, by society, by those around you, by your family. A desirable leader in all spheres of life that you find yourself in. That is such a quality that is needed in this country. Leadership that is desired, that is not shunted. Leadership that everyone wants to be a part of, to follow. I want you to be that leader. I want you to go out. In short, manage yourself in the present. Manage yourself in the present now. And that's an important point. Be aware of where you are now. And in that nowness, define yourself and be busy with what is a priority. Very important. That present is vital. I'm closing, and I just want to leave, as I leave all my MBA students, with just 3 things. Before I get there, I just want to say, never stop dreaming. Never, ever stop dreaming. But when you dream, you must dream big. A dream is never small. I mean, where do you see a guy dreaming small? He dreams of the jackpot, not of 5,000 rands, 5 and 50 million rands. Dream big. There's nothing that can deter you from dreaming big. But the other thing about dreams, it must be your dream. Don't try to dream other people's dreams. Don't steal another guy's dream. In any case, you're asleep. You can't. I'm not saying you're asleep, eh? But don't try to copy another guy's dream. Dream your own dream. And then a dream must always have benefit to people outside of yourself. A dream can never be selfish if it wants to be successful. And then when I leave my MBA classes every year, I say to them, there are 3 things I want to leave with you. 1, tell yourself that no one will ever tell me I cannot achieve something. I cannot do something. I am in charge. Don't tell me I cannot. Don't accept that I cannot. The second thing I say to them is, money is not everything. And I mean that out of experience. Trying to be the richest man on earth is of no avail. Money is not everything. Whatever your career path, don't only have money as your goal. And the last thing, which I always claim as the success factor in my life, believe in a power outside of yourself. Whatever that power is, believe in a power. Some people will spell that power with a capital P. But believe in a power outside of yourself. I congratulate you, and God bless you.
Good morning, everybody. I will be singing for you. My name is Nokuthula Mposi, and I'm doing my BTech this year in environmental health. So I'll be also graduating on Saturday. Thank you.